Have you ever felt like life was supposed to be simpler, easier, happier than this? That somehow, along the way, no one warned you just how brutal the truth could be? What if I told you that there are harsh lessons, quiet, uncomfortable realities that most people only discover far too late? Lessons about love, time, happiness, and the silent ways we sabotage our own lives. But here's the thing. Once you see these truths, you can't unsee them. And maybe, just maybe, they'll change the way you live the rest of your days. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might find yourself looking at life and your own choices in a way you never have before. 1. Happiness isn't a constant state. Have you ever found yourself chasing happiness, as if it were some final destination on a long and winding road? Many of us grow up believing that happiness is a stable state, something we achieve once we've collected all the right pieces of life's puzzle: a loving partner, a fulfilling career, a healthy body, a cozy home. We imagine that once we've gathered these treasures, we'll finally arrive at a place where joy greets us each morning and lulls us to sleep each night. But here's the harsh truth, one that stings a little when it finally settles into your heart. Happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes, like sunlight breaking through scattered clouds. It's not meant to be a permanent fixture. It's more like a visitor, a dear friend who drops by unannounced, brightening your day, and then quietly leaves again. Think about it. Remember the last time you were truly, deeply happy? Maybe it was during a spontaneous road trip with friends, laughing until your stomach hurt. Maybe it was the simple pleasure of sipping tea on your porch as the world slowed down around you. Or perhaps it was the moment you accomplished something you'd worked tirelessly for. How long did that happiness stay? A day? A week? And then what? We often mistake the pursuit of happiness for the pursuit of permanence. We believe we can engineer our lives so perfectly that joy will have no choice but to take up residence and never leave. But life doesn't work that way. It ebbs and flows, much like the tides. Expecting to be constantly happy is like standing on the shore, demanding the ocean remain still. There's also a danger in this relentless pursuit. When we convince ourselves that we're supposed to be happy all the time, we set ourselves up for chronic disappointment. We look around and wonder why others seem to have cracked the code while we're stuck with heavy hearts. Social media amplifies this illusion. We see endless highlight reels, radiant smiles, romantic getaways, promotions, and we start believing that we're the only ones struggling with gray days. But underneath those polished posts, everyone battles their own private storms. Everyone's joy is interrupted by moments of grief, frustration, anxiety, and loneliness. It's simply part of being human. So what's the alternative? Should we abandon happiness altogether? Not at all. Instead, we learn to cherish it precisely because it's temporary. Imagine if every day were bright and sunny. Would you still appreciate the warmth of the sun on your skin? Or would it fade into the unnoticed background of your life? It's the rainy days that teach us to savor the sunshine. Happiness isn't a right, it's a gift. It's something to be welcomed with open arms when it visits, and to be patiently awaited when it departs. When we stop clinging to it, stop demanding it stay longer than it wishes, we actually make more space for it to return. Perhaps a wiser pursuit is contentment. Contentment doesn't rely on constant highs. It's a quiet satisfaction, an acceptance of life as it is imperfect, unpredictable, yet still profoundly meaningful. Contentment means finding peace in ordinary moments. It means acknowledging that even in the midst of struggle, there is still so much to be grateful for. Can you allow yourself to be content, even when happiness feels out of reach? Can you sit with your sadness without judgment, trusting that it too will pass? These are questions worth pondering. Life is richer when we stop demanding that happiness be our permanent state. Instead, let it surprise you. Let it dance through your days when it chooses, and wave goodbye when it must. In the meantime, hold close to the simple joys, the laughter of someone you love, the hush of evening settling over your home, the quiet pride in doing something kind without recognition. Maybe then, you'll discover that while happiness isn't constant, life can still be beautiful all the same. 2. Most people don't really care about you. It's a truth that sounds cold at first, almost cruel, yet strangely, it can also set you free. Most people don't really care about you. Not in the way you might fear. Not in the obsessive, critical way that your anxious mind often imagines at night. They aren't replaying your awkward moments. They aren't dissecting your flaws. They aren't waiting for you to fail so they can revel in your downfall. In fact, they're hardly thinking about you at all. Why? Because most people are far too busy worrying about themselves. They're tangled up in their own inner worlds, their ambitions, their regrets, their insecurities, their secret dreams. They're replaying their awkward moments, scrutinizing their flaws, hoping that others aren't noticing their failures. Think about how often you dwell on someone else's minor mistake, a stutter in conversation, a clumsy spill, a questionable outfit choice. You might notice it for a brief moment, maybe even chuckle or feel secondhand embarrassment, and then it vanishes. Your mind returns to its favorite subject, yourself. So why do we spend so much energy trying to manage how others see us? Why do we exhaust ourselves performing roles we hope will win approval, dressing up parts of ourselves while hiding away the rest? Why do we lie awake at night, replaying conversations and imagining how foolish we must have looked or sounded? Imagine how liberating it would be if you truly absorbed this reality. Most people aren't paying nearly as much attention to you as you think. Your life is not under a microscope. Your imperfections aren't on a billboard. You are simply a passing figure in the vast story of someone else's life. Does that mean you're insignificant? Of course not. It simply means you have permission to let go of the crushing weight of constant self-monitoring. You can step out of the imaginary spotlight. You can laugh a little louder, take more chances, speak your truth without trembling. You can live in a way that feels honest to you, rather than constantly molding yourself to avoid judgment. There's also a tender side to this truth. While most people don't care in a scrutinizing way, many still care in a human way. They might not be obsessed with your every move, but they can still offer kindness, empathy, even love. The barista who smiles as they hand you your coffee, the stranger who holds the door, the friend who texts just to see how you're holding up. These moments aren't about them keeping score on your life. They're about fleeting connections, small bursts of shared humanity. When you accept that most people aren't fixated on you, you also gain a new appreciation for those rare few who do care deeply. The ones who remember your stories, who notice when your eyes look a little sad, who celebrate your joys as if they were their own. These people are precious beyond words. They are the keepers of your truest self. Cherish them, nurture those bonds, for they are the exception, not the rule. And remember, you are someone else's most people too. You pass by countless lives every day without knowing their silent struggles or victories. Perhaps this understanding can make you a little softer, a little more compassionate. If we're all mostly wrapped up in ourselves, maybe it's worth lifting our heads now and then to truly see each other, to offer a gentle word, a listening ear, or simply a smile. So the next time your mind spins with worry, what do they think of me? Did I sound stupid? Do I look foolish? Pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, they probably aren't thinking about you at all. And that's not a curse. It's a gift. It means you are free to be delightfully, unapologetically, imperfectly you. 3. Time slips away faster than you think. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "Where did all the time go?" Maybe it was on a birthday or during a quiet evening when a song transported you back years in an instant. Maybe you stumbled on an old photo, your younger face smiling back, eyes bright with unburdened hope, and felt a pang of nostalgia so sharp it almost stole your breath. Time is a silent thief. It moves steadily, patiently, with no regard for our schedules, our dreams, or our fragile hearts. And by the time we notice how quickly it's passing, whole chapters have already closed behind us. As children, we measure time in school terms and summer breaks, in birthdays and holidays. The days feel endless, each one soaked in possibility. But as we grow older, time gathers speed. The years stack up like pages riffling by in a fast-flipped book. Suddenly, the decade you thought would stretch on forever is gone. Friends move away, loved ones age, and you look in the mirror only to wonder, when did I start to look like this? This harsh truth is not meant to depress you. Rather, it's a wake-up call, a tender nudge to pay attention. Because once time is spent, it's gone. Unlike money, you can't earn more. Unlike possessions, you can't replace it. It's the only currency you hold that diminishes with every tick of the clock. So how do you honor something so precious? Perhaps it begins by being fully present. We spend much of our lives half living, our bodies in one place, while our minds wander somewhere else. We scroll endlessly, distracting ourselves from the gentle miracle of simply being alive. We rush through conversations, meals, even tender moments with people we love, all because we're busy chasing what's next. But what if you slowed down? What if you actually tasted your morning coffee, felt the warmth of the cup in your hands, listened to the delicate hush of early hours? What if you looked someone you care about directly in the eyes, hearing not just their words but the small tremors of hope or fear beneath them? What if you let yourself linger on a sunset, a laugh, a story, as if you had nowhere else to be? Would your days feel fuller? Would you still look back, years from now, and wonder where the time went? Or would you be comforted by knowing you truly lived it? There's another side to time slipping by. We assume we have so much of it. We postpone our dreams, telling ourselves, someday. We imagine we'll travel when we retire, say the words that matter when the moment feels more convenient, mend relationships later. But life has no contract with you. It offers no guarantees. The people you cherish may not always be there to hear your apologies, your gratitude, your declarations of love. Imagine standing at the end of your life, peering back at the choices you made and the ones you never dared to. Would you wish you'd worked longer hours, collected more likes on a screen? Or would you ache for one more ordinary afternoon with someone who's now gone? One more chance to hold their hand, to tell them what they meant to you. This is not to scare you, but to soften you, to remind you that every day is a small, quiet miracle. You're not promised thousands more, so spend them well. Create memories that will warm you later. Be reckless in your kindness, extravagant in your love. Choose experiences over things, people over pride. Time is slipping by faster than you think. That's the harsh truth. But here's the gentle grace hidden within it. Because it's finite, it's also infinitely precious. Each hour matters more because you only get so many. So today, before it too becomes a memory, pause, breathe it in, Make a choice that your future self will thank you for. Live a life that, when you look back and whisper, "Where did all the time go?" your heart will answer, "Right here," in moments just like this. 4. Your comfort zone is slowly killing you. We like to think of the comfort zone as a refuge, a warm, safe place where nothing can hurt us. Inside its soft walls, life is predictable. We know what to expect. We avoid embarrassment, dodge risks, and keep our hearts from shattering on hard, unfamiliar ground. It feels like protection. But here's the painful paradox. The comfort zone is also a silent killer. Not of your body, perhaps, but of something even more vital, your spirit, your potential, your deepest aliveness. Picture a garden left untended. The soil grows hard. Weeds creep in. What once was vibrant and teeming with life becomes stale, choked by neglect. That's what happens inside you when you refuse to step beyond what's familiar. Growth demands stretching. It demands new experiences, new mistakes, new vulnerabilities. Without them, you stagnate. Think of all the dreams you've ever had, the secret ones that whispered to you in the dark, the book you longed to write, the country you ached to explore, the person you wished to confess your heart to. Where are those dreams now? Many of them lie stranded just outside your comfort zone, waiting for you to gather enough courage to cross that invisible line. But comfort is seductive. It tells you it's better to stay put, better not to apply for that job you feel underqualified for, better not to try painting or singing or dancing, because what if people laugh? Better not to risk loving too deeply, because what if they leave? Comfort argues that failure and rejection hurt too much, so why not stay where it's safe? And so, days pass, then weeks, then years. Eventually, you wake up to realize that your life has become smaller than it once promised to be. You look back and see not a trail of bold attempts, but a series of cautious choices, a life spent mostly surviving, rarely truly living. Here's another truth. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. Growth never happens where it's cozy. It happens when your heart races, when your palms sweat, when you hear that small voice inside saying, "I can't do this." And you answer, "Maybe, but I'll try anyway." Can you remember the last time you stepped outside that bubble? Maybe it was standing up to speak in a room full of strangers, or traveling alone, or opening up about something you'd kept hidden for years. Yes, it was terrifying. But didn't you also feel startlingly alive? Didn't something inside you expand, even if just a little? The comfort zone doesn't just limit your experiences, it also limits your resilience. Each time you push beyond it, you prove to yourself that you can survive discomfort, even thrive within it. You build confidence not by avoiding fear, but by dancing with it. So ask yourself, where is your comfort zone today? And what lies just beyond it, quietly calling your name? Maybe it's learning a new skill that intimidates you. Maybe it's finally booking that solo trip. Maybe it's telling someone how much they mean to you. Maybe it's setting a boundary you've long been too afraid to voice. Your comfort zone is slowly killing the boldest parts of you. But the good news? The door is never locked. You can step out at any time. Yes, the air out there is unfamiliar, the ground uneven. You might stumble, you might even fall. But oh, the things you'll see, the people you'll meet, the strength you'll discover, the stories you'll gather to cradle in your old age. In the end, would you rather look back on a life of safe predictability or one where your heart raced often, where you risked and reached and sometimes fell, but always knew you were truly breathtakingly alive. The choice is quietly yours. Even now, this very moment, you can take one small step beyond the walls you've built. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find that life on the other side is far richer than anything comfort ever promised. 5. Not everyone you love will stay. If only love were enough to keep people by our side forever. If only the bonds we nurture with such tenderness came with unbreakable guarantees. But life, in its bittersweet honesty, doesn't work that way. One of the hardest truths you'll ever learn is this: not everyone you love will stay. Some will leave by choice. Paths will diverge. Interests will fade. Misunderstandings will widen into unbridgeable distances. The friend who once finished your sentences may drift into silence. The partner who once held your heart may walk away with it still partly in their hands. You'll stand there, bewildered, clutching memories that feel so vivid, so recent, it's impossible to believe they're already in the past. Others will leave not by choice, but by the quiet, unstoppable hands of time. Parents grow older. Grandparents slip away. Sometimes it's sudden, a cruel phone call in the middle of the night. Other times it's a slow decline, each visit revealing a little more absence behind their eyes. No matter how it happens, it leaves you hollowed out in places that words can't reach. Why does this hurt so deeply? Because love plants roots. It winds itself through your days, anchoring your joys, giving shape to your tomorrows. When someone leaves, it feels as though those roots are being torn out, leaving aching spaces where once there was laughter, routine, warmth. Yet in this pain lies a profound, almost sacred understanding. The impermanence of love's presence is precisely what makes it so precious. Imagine if you knew for certain that everyone you loved would be by your side forever. Would you still cherish each conversation, each shared meal, each quiet evening as deeply? Or would you take them for granted, forgetting to whisper, "I love you," assuming there would always be another chance? The uncertainty teaches us urgency. It reminds us to be present, to treasure the now instead of waiting for some distant, perfect moment. It nudges us to hold people a little closer, to forgive a little quicker, to say what matters before silence steals the opportunity. Think for a moment about the people who are still here. The friend who checks in on you when life gets heavy. The sibling who knows your history better than anyone. The partner who sees your flaws and chooses you anyway. Even the neighbor who waves each morning. They may not be here forever, but they are here now. That's something fragile and extraordinary, deserving of your full attention. Of course, knowing people may leave doesn't erase the grief when they do. You'll still wake up some mornings reaching for them in your mind, forgetting for a heartbeat that they're gone. You'll still hear a song that brings tears unbidden, or catch yourself wanting to share a small piece of good news with someone who can no longer hear it. Grief is simply love's shadow. It lingers wherever deep affection once grew. So how do you live with this truth without letting it harden you? You open your heart anyway. You keep loving wildly and without guarantees. You understand that loss is not a sign you were wrong to care, but proof that what you shared was real enough to mourn. Maybe that's what makes our connections so achingly beautiful, knowing they come with no promises. Each moment together is a fragile miracle. Each laugh, each embrace, each tear shed on someone's shoulder is a gift offered under the looming shadow of impermanence. So don't hold back. Tell people how much they mean to you. Make memories that will glow in your heart long after goodbyes are said. And when the time comes that someone you love must leave by distance, by choice, or by life's inevitable end, allow yourself to grieve fully, because that grief is a testament It says, "This mattered. They mattered. I was lucky to have loved them at all." Not everyone you love will stay. That's the harsh truth. But it's also the reason to love more deeply, to pour yourself into your relationships while you still can. For one day, all that will remain are the echoes of laughter, the imprint of hands once held, and the quiet, steady beat of a heart that dared to love, knowing full well how fragile it all was. 6. Failure is the best but cruelest teacher. Failure, just the word itself, can send a chill through your bones. It carries the sting of embarrassment, the weight of disappointment, the echo of voices whispering, "You're not good enough." It's a door slammed in your face, a dream left to wilt, a painful reminder that despite your best efforts, sometimes life says, "Number." But here's the paradox. Failure is also one of life's greatest gifts, a stern, demanding teacher who cares little for your comfort but everything for your growth. It shapes you in ways that success never could. Think back on your own life. When did you learn your most profound lessons? Was it when everything was smooth? When you achieved exactly what you set out to do without a hitch? Or was it when you stumbled hard? When the plan unraveled? When you were forced to sit among the ruins of what you thought you wanted? Failure has a ruthless honesty. It strips away illusions, exposes your weaknesses, challenges your assumptions. It shows you who your true friends are, the ones who stand by you when the applause fades, when there's nothing left to gain by staying close. It teaches humility, reminding you that you are not invincible, that everyone, no matter how skilled or smart, will fall short at times. It also plants the seeds of resilience. Each time you fail and choose to stand again, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you believed. You begin to see that setbacks are not the end of your story, but a messy, vital chapter within it. The scars you collect along the way become quiet testaments to your courage. Yet, failure's lessons don't come gently. They come with tears, with restless nights, with the gnawing self-doubt that asks, "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." They come when you watch others race ahead while you're left starting over, picking up the jagged pieces of your hopes. They come when you must swallow your pride and admit that despite all your effort, you fell short. Is it cruel? In many ways, yes. But it's also profoundly fair, because failure doesn't care about your name, your past victories, or how many people cheer for you. It treats everyone the same. And it offers its harshest lessons equally to those willing to risk, to try, to put their hearts on the line. Consider the world's most accomplished individuals, the inventors, the artists, the leaders. Nearly all of them bear stories of crushing defeats. The author whose first novel was rejected dozens of times, the entrepreneur whose initial ventures collapsed into debt, the athlete who lost countless competitions before finally tasting victory. Their triumphs didn't come despite failure. They came because of it. Failure refines you. It forces you to adapt, to question, to innovate. It reveals what you care about so deeply that you're willing to try again, even after the pain. If a dream can't withstand the test of failure, perhaps it was never your true dream at all. So how do you face failure without letting it break you? You start by changing the way you see it. Instead of a verdict on your worth, see it as feedback, however brutal. Instead of proof that you should quit, see it as evidence that you dared, that you stepped into the arena when so many others chose the safety of the stands. Ask yourself, what did this teach me? How can I be wiser, stronger, more prepared next time? How might this heartbreak redirect me towards something better, something truer? Remember, Failure only has the final word if you let it. The most tragic form of failure isn't falling short, it's refusing to try again out of fear. It's settling for a smaller life because the pain of disappointment seems too great to risk feeling twice. Yes, failure is the best but cruelest teacher. It asks everything of you: your ego, your comfort, your illusions. But in return, it offers you something rare and enduring: the unshakable knowledge that you can endure hardship, adapt, and rise. That you are not defined by the moments you fell, but by the countless times you chose to get back up. So the next time you fail, and you will, because we all do, let yourself grieve, feel the sting, but then gather what you've learned, lift your head, and step forward again. Because hidden inside failure's harsh lessons is the very roadmap that will one day lead you to success. 7. You are responsible for your own life. If there's one truth that cuts deeper than most, it is this: you are responsible for your own life. Not your parents, not your partner, not your boss, not your friends, just you. It's a truth many resist, often unconsciously. It's far easier, almost comforting, in a twisted way, to blame others for the state of your life. To point to childhood wounds, to unfair bosses, to cruel twists of fate. And yes, all of those things may be painfully real. Life deals out misfortunes unevenly. It is not a level playing field. Some carry heavier burdens, face steeper hills, endure deeper losses. But still, the ultimate responsibility for what you do with your life rests in your own hands. Why is this so hard to accept? Because it strips away excuses. It demands that you look in the mirror and admit that your choices, your habits, your mindset shape far more of your life than any outside force. That realization is both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because it means there's nowhere to hide. If you're unhappy, it's largely up to you to change it. If your dreams remain unlived, it's you who must take the first step. No one is coming to rescue you from your own inaction. But liberating, because if it's in your hands, then you also hold the power to transform it. You are not a permanent victim of circumstance. You can decide right now, today, to start steering your life in a different direction. Consider how often people wait for someone else to change before they feel free to live fully. They wait for an apology that may never come. They wait for a partner to become more supportive. They wait for the economy to improve, for the perfect time, for the fear to magically disappear. Meanwhile, life continues slipping by, indifferent to their waiting. What would happen if you stopped waiting? If you stood up, took a deep breath, and decided to act on your own behalf, to create joy rather than simply hoping it finds you, to chase your goals even if no one cheers you on, to take risks with your heart, your art, your career, knowing that the only permission you truly need is your own. Of course, this doesn't mean life will suddenly become easy or fair. It doesn't mean you won't stumble, or that your efforts will always pay off quickly. Taking responsibility is not a guarantee of smooth sailing. But it does ensure that when you look back on your life, you'll know you tried wholeheartedly, courageously, without blaming others for roads you chose not to travel. It's also worth remembering that responsibility does not equal harsh self-blame. Being responsible means owning your power, not beating yourself up for every misstep. It means learning from mistakes, forgiving yourself, and trying again. It's about moving forward with compassion for the imperfect, struggling human that you are. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, where in your life have you been waiting for someone else to act? Where have you handed over your power by blaming, resenting, deflecting instead of taking ownership? Maybe it's time to reclaim it, to stand firmly in the uncomfortable but exhilarating truth that your life is yours to shape, that you get to write this story, plot twist by plot twist, heartbreak by triumph. No one else can live it for you. No one else will care quite as deeply about your fulfillment as you will. The harsh truth is also a profound gift. You are responsible for your own life. And that means you are also free, breathtakingly, terrifyingly free, to make it whatever you dare to dream. So take the reins, make the choice, speak the words, build the habits, forge the path that your heart quietly longs for. Because in the end, it's your hands that will carve the shape of your days, and your choices that will echo in the story of your life. So there they are, 7 harsh truths about life you'll wish you'd known sooner. Maybe they stung a little. Maybe they cracked open something tender inside you. But sometimes, that's exactly what we need, not to be comforted with sweet lies, but to be awakened by hard truths that can actually set us free. Because the reality is, time is slipping by. Not everyone you love will stay. You will fail. You will hurt. You will question your worth. But through it all, you hold one extraordinary power: to choose how you respond, how you grow, and how fiercely you will keep loving this flawed, fleeting life. So take these truths, not as reasons to fear the future, but as quiet reminders to live more deliberately, to savor more moments, to speak more honestly, to risk more greatly. And when your own story draws to its close, may you look back without regret, knowing you faced life with open eyes, an open heart, and the courage to keep going, no matter how harsh the lessons became. If this video moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear these words today. And remember, your life is yours to shape. Don't wait. Start living it fully, now.